me at Cello, Cello. You had me at Cello. You had me at Cello. Oh, you had me at Cello.
Good evening, everybody. 5 o'clock on a Friday. Time for another episode of Cello Chat. I am super excited to have with me today Dr. Rodrigo Pessoa. How are things in Alaska?
Cold.
Yeah, I thought they were cold here in Wisconsin, but I can imagine.
Yeah.
Spring will come eventually.
Uh-huh.
But thanks very much for joining me. I'm really
Thank
interested.
you for having me.
I'm absolutely interested in picking your brain on some of the various things that I've read or heard about you. We have some mutual friends and acquaintances through LinkedIn, and it's just always fascinating to get to know more and more of the cello community.
Yeah.
But I want to start with your musical story, which
Okay.
started in Brazil, and then how did that take you to various parts of America and then up to Alaska? And how did you get started even on the cello in the first place?
Can you believe I was almost 20 years old when I started cello? And my first cello, so there's a lot of that happened back then. It was super expensive to buy a cello in Brazil back in the 90s. My mom had to save a lot of money, but once she made it, I remember like until today, like getting my cello in the music store for the first time, and I remember spending the whole year. Like every time I had to open the soft case of my cello was like opening a treasure. I had so much passion. I still have passion, but for that first cello in particular was very very powerful. And then I started having private lessons. My mom started paying for a guy who played the violin and a little bit of the cello. Was a tough start. I don't know if you know, in Brazil, you don't have orchestra classes at schools.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have maybe one public school in South. Yes, I heard there's one school, but in general, there's no music class at schools. And then, luckily, I had a youth orchestra happening in my hometown, and then I started playing. I have this experience like playing in our orchestra, and also in my church. My church, they have a lot of musicians. It's a huge church in Brazil. We have like 2-3 million members. Here in the States, like 7,000, not that much, but in Brazil, it's like a huge. Like only musicians have like 500,000 musicians, the whole country. It's the biggest orchestra of the planet.
Wow.
Yeah. And this was huge for me because I had my aunt, she plays the piano, the organ. My brother, he plays the clarinet. My sister also played the organ. My wife learning the organ as well.
Hmm.
And all this because of the culture of the church. And then also, of course, my musical life started growing outside of the church, like teaching as well. Had these after school programs. We started learning this approach for group lessons. That was a new thing for me because I only knew how to teach like one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you want to hear until I came here to Alaska?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. And then I had this much of experience like teaching. There's a project in Brazil, it's huge. It's called Projeto Guri Project. It's an after-school program where you teach strings, guitar, choir, what else? Band instruments. And I worked for this project for 13 years. And then I had this opportunity to do my master's degree in New Mexico with Dr. David Shaps. He's a great friend of mine. I love him so much. And he accepted me as a student. I got the assistantship, and I played for the Abe Franks string quartet. I stayed there for 2 years. This happened in 2016 and 2017.
Okay.
And then right after finishing the master's, I got my assistantship at Texas Tech with Mr. Jeffrey Lestraps.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent like 3 years under his teaching, and I learned a lot. playing with the orchestra. And interesting that both programs I had the chance to work as a Suzuki teacher as well. And in the meantime, I remember traveling to Chicago to do my trainings with Dr. Tony Carey. And I did all 10 books, practicum, I did the scales book, the etudes book. I remember I spent like 3 weeks in Chicago under going to her house. It was so much fun. It was like another family for me. And then once I finished my doctoral degree in Texas, in Lubbock, I don't know if you know Lubbock in Texas.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I applied for 4 jobs. And then I got accepted here in Alaska to work as an orchestra teacher at Dimond High School. And this happened in 2020. We have this quarantine thing, like the coronavirus was ruling the whole planet. Yeah. And since then I'm here with my family, teaching high schoolers, teaching also middle schoolers, and happy like building, growing this program. When I started teaching here, I had like 22 students, my program. Now I have like 70.
That's great.
Yeah.
Love that. That's great. All right. Yeah. I do know Dr. Lestraps, and somehow managed to kind of occasionally keep running across former students of his as well. And then, of course, Tanya Carey is just, she's wonderful. She's been up to UW-Whitewater before, for example, and our paths have crossed in Australia, of all places. And so I'm curious, anything that you would add about either what is different about the approach to music in Brazil versus America, or various things that you got from your cello teachers in your master's or doctoral degree that just bounce around in your head and that you apply on a regular basis?
Yeah, in Brazil, we have a very European culture of the conservatories. They are, now it's a little different. I remember they're being very tough with the students, kind of being like I don't know what kind of words should I use, not aggressive, but being very, they are asking a lot of discipline and passion at the same time. You had to work really hard, or or you have talents and passion and discipline, or you're wasting our time here. Now it's different because of the American culture. Beginning of the 20s, we have this, the 2000, we have a lot of American teachers going to Brazil, and we had this more positive approach, including Suzuki. And then things start to balance more, and more people are playing now. If you go to Brazil now, you're gonna find so many musicians playing on a high level, like they're playing really well. Like every time you go there, you see younger people playing more, like younger with more technique and in a higher level repertoire. That's incredible. It's a musical miracle happening in Brazil. And then from what I learned from my teachers, my professors in New Mexico and Lubbock, my big takeaways from Dr. Sheps, I learned a lot about left hands. I had the stiff left hand. I learned a lot about shifting and stretching. His approach to left hand is super interesting. You see, his hand looks like a jellyfish, and he has you see, very natural, because I was very stiff, and this is something my biggest takeaway from him. And from Dr. Lestraps was bowing and listening. My gosh, he somehow cleaned my ears so badly. Now when I record myself and I play back, like, this is sounding really bad. So then I record myself like 30 times. Like I play, 4 measures, and I record myself playing 30 times until I say, okay, now it's acceptable. This was my biggest takeaway from Dr. Lestraps.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Well, and then going back for a moment, you talk about the strictness that there was in the Brazilian approach. And you really can't read, I can't find really anywhere about you online that doesn't also talk about your ability to have high standards and also be really nice and supportive and encouraging. So I was just wondering, that must have been a very intentional attribute on your part that you wanted to have both of those.
Yeah, this inspiration always comes from someone, right? My first and my second teacher was this kind of strict European style, like do it and whatever, and just please me. But my third teacher was different, and this guy, he taught me how to love teaching. His name is Andrea Micheletti. He's a doctor as well.
Okay.
He got his double doctoral degree in Indiana University, and his master in Northwestern. And he has magic in his hand. He's the teacher at the São Paulo University.
Okay.
Yeah, he's famous in Brazil. Some people say he's the best cello professor in Brazil. So because of him, his approach, and then I started to love not only playing the cello, because I started learning faster, and then I thought I should learn. I should like teach more cello, because helping people is so exciting. Not only about playing. Now, playing is nice, of course, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But what if you help people?
Yeah.
Like someone struggling, and then they go and help them building the layers of skills. And for the first time in my whole life, okay, I wanna teach the cello, like as a passion, as a mission, because of him. That's why I'm here.
Wow, that's really nice. Some people don't have necessarily, some people that I interview, as much on the tip of their brain what their main takeaways were. But it's very clear that you have them in your mind and revere them for that. And then I also would like for you to talk a little bit about the Suzuki training. I know, I mean, I know I'm not the only one, but I am very happy that the Suzuki Society of America and American String Teachers Association are now starting to do their annual conferences together, because there's so much cross-pollination and benefit from the two. But for the sake of any of the people watching who are thinking, well, okay, I'm getting a music education degree, should I also get Suzuki training? How would you say that your Suzuki training regularly impacts your string teaching?
Oh, so it's 100%. Suzuki for me is a mindset. Before Suzuki, I was a true believer of the talent. Like if you don't have talent, you don't have anything that drives you before you get the instruments. So, okay, you're wasting our time. This kind of opinion, that's very acid, I think. But Suzuki, you blame yourself most of the time. So I'm missing tools to help my students. I'm the one who is responsible to build the path. Unless the student come to you and say, hey, I don't want to play. Okay, that's something else. But if they want to play and they look into your eyes and they're trying, you give everything. You don't care. You just keep going. Like you split the same thing in like a million pieces. So let's try this piece. Now the second piece. Now combine those two. Boom. Now the third piece, the fourth piece. Combine those two. Now all four. That's because of Suzuki. You learn how to believe in the process. And the students start believing in the process. And then once you have the process, and something else I love about Suzuki is you don't care about the result. There's no result. There's only building. There's only the community, only the process, only the connection. That's all that matters. For example, a student who start learning from the beginning, they play only open D. So this is Twinkle. It is Twinkle. Then you play Twinkle along with him and sound like there's a harmony.
Yeah.
Kind of. It is Twinkle. And it's the best Twinkle ever because you can hear the ringing. He played the open D with this there's this ringing. And then we add open A, and then we add first finger. boom. We call the flower song or the lizard song, the monkey song, and then you go building, and that's just wonderful. So I would say everybody should take this training. So some people say it's expensive, blah blah blah, but it's every cent it's worth the shot. Like make you a better, not only a better teacher, but a better human being as well.
Nice,
Yeah.
excellent. All right, now up at Dimond High School. First question on my mind: Did I don't know how I stumbled across it, but there was a video like from above of some of the high schoolers playing a Eurythmics song,
Yes.
"Sweet Dreams." Was that your brainchild?
Yeah. I bought these electric instruments because you're always trying to make your program more, let's say, like you want to attract people. Like, hey, playing orchestra is cool. Why? So because you play electrical instruments. What? Yes, like a rock band with bows. Yeah, and then we started rehearsing this ensemble after school, and the deal was they had to learn by heart, like they had to play from memory, and with a backing track. And this was a third struggle was playing the instruments and not feeling bad because when you play an electric instrument, you don't hear the ringing. There's no resonance. It's kind of empty, and you have the sound coming out of the speaker. But what was a success because they, they had this video, like you saw this video. It
was great.
Thank you.
I could see how that would immediately draw in people who otherwise were, I don't know if I'm going to give strings a chance. Like,
yeah,
okay, that's cool. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. I buy it. Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to ask you as well, in one of your comments somewhere, it was for the Alaska News Channel interview where you talk about trying, if you succeed, if you become obsolete for a given student. And to me, that immediately conveys the idea of making them become their own teacher, their own ability to assess and diagnose and figure out how to solve a problem. So how do you go about teaching that?
Yeah, this is from Suzuki as well. So in Suzuki, you learn that book 1 through book 10 is all connected. So you teach book 10 skills when you teach book 1. And when you're teaching book 10, you have book 1, you use material from book 1 to improve, to increase the skills on book 10. Like it's all connected. Book 1, 2 through 10, all the same. It's like one big book. and then the independence of the teacher is something you grow through the books. So say in book 1, they depend on you a lot. So you have to build every single skill. Book 10, you can just say, hey, you need more dynamics. You need to change your color, blah, blah, blah. All this, or kind of your stage presence, or getting ready for a competition.
Yeah.
So the teacher is really obsolete on book 10. But since book 10 is in book 1, so this means you have to become obsolete here as well. So when your student is playing Twinkles, but he's finishing book 1, he has to play Twinkles like, I don't need you anymore. I know what I'm doing. I hear the ringing. I have the tunnel technique. I have the string crossing, all done. Thank you for helping me. Boom. So then I realized, so I had to teach all these book 10 skills right here. So the more the better. They call it slingshot effect as well. You hold the students, like you don't say, okay, let's play the second song, third song. No, just calm down. Let's play Twinkles, the best twinkle ever, and then you move to the second song, the French folk song, and then you go without any hurry, and then that's how they build this competence. And then I said that you become obsolete.
Wow.
The teacher is obsolete.
So they stay aware of the fundamentals that they applied at the very beginning, all the way through the 10 books.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Excellent.
the teacher is supposed to be obsolete. So of course, when he starts learning a new skill or new song, or a new piece, you there to help to grow again.
Great, great. So now another idea of that you have of motivating students, and one of the phrases that caught me was by providing special performance opportunities. So can you elaborate on that?
Yes. So this, I think, was my takeaway from my church. I was kind of, I got very impressed when I met my students here, my high schoolers, and they said, okay, once I'm done with high school, I'm not playing anymore. What? Like, and because in my church, once you become a musician in the church, you play until you can't play anymore, or you die. It's forever. You're a musician. Boom. So what a pleasure, what a honor to be a musician. And then my high schooler said, so once I'm done with school, no more cello. Like, no. And then I realized they're missing this community connection. So if they don't play at church, if they don't play at a senior living home, if they don't play at a museum, there's no reason, there's no value. They need this connection. And then I started to build this connections with the community to have my students playing different venues, other than playing at school only. That was my my motivation.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, and that helps also the community, the administrators constantly realize how valuable your string program is too.
Yeah, because they are giving to the general public. Yeah. And every year they get the lettering from orchestra, and there are 3 requirements. One is academics. They have to have an A+. They have to have a musicianship achievement. For example, they invest in private lessons. They play for a festival. They get an award, all-state. And the 3rd requirement is community service. They have to be a musician they have to give back to their city, to their area.
Excellent, excellent. All right, now another thing I like, and your YouTube channel has a playlist that has a lot of my favorite cellists as well. You have, Lynn Harold, Leonard Rose, you have Starker, you have Honor Bylsma, and it's kind of funny because if we're not careful, it seems like some of the young folks just don't really bother to kind of research the heritage. They know the name Yo-Yo Ma, and maybe that's about it. But I'm curious, is it a degree to which you have a playlist like that because of the kind of an emphasis on the history, kind of where we've learned these things, where we've come in cello playing, or just that there were aspects of the way that each of these great cellists played that, just kind of like picture being worth 1,000 words, that can just help inspire cellists of any age in a way that, a book has a hard time doing.
I think my biggest motivation to have this playlist was from Pamela Davenport. She's another Suzuki cello cello trainer. She's a trainer. And she said that you learn from your teacher how to build their skills, but your biggest inspiration or your biggest reference are from the great masters. So how you learn to make a beautiful cello sound? So you're gonna hear Lynn Harold. So here's the reference. Like, he's the Jesus. and the teachers are the apostles. Like, they're the one spreading the gospel. And then what if I had this ready to go? So you just open your cell phone, and boom, and you just hear from their mouth, like how their concept of sound, and intonation, and they play for you. Like, that's magical. And this is because of Penn Davenport. I read this in her book, saying, so you learn from the great masters. Go direct to the source.
Yeah. Several of them did have a real way, not only with the cello, but with words too. I mean, Lynn Harrell, Jana Starker, those two are the first two that come to mind that could just say something in a way that you heard it and you went, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then it keeps going around in your head and like, no, this was the real kernel of exactly what you need to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rodrigo, what projects do you have coming up yet, either in this spring semester or in the summer or later in 2025?
Okay, so for the spring semester, we have the senior concert. So every year, the spring concert, we honor the seniors, especially because they stayed in our program for 4 years, and I try to make them feel really special because they're really special for the program. So we are there because of them, right? So one thing I do every year is buy a big banner with their pictures. We do a photo session. Nice. And then I buy this. It's huge, like it's 7 feet or 6 feet. Yeah, and then I hang our classroom. Nice. And during the concert, we do a video with our pictures, with a family saying beautiful messages at the end of the concert. And it's supposed to make the parents cry a lot. And to make they feel loved. So this is music. This is not about playing, only about playing. It's about connections, about family, about so there's so much meaning. Like, not about get your instrument and play a G major scale. Like, no, there's much more to that. So this is my biggest project for this semester. For the summer, I like to do cello recitals to keep my musicianship going. Last year, I had 3 recitals in Brazil. I played the Hungarian Rhapsody, Bach Suite number 3. What else? I played a Brazilian composer, Villa-Lobos. I played the Swan, and the Black Swan by Villa-Lobos, and the Small Suite by Villa-Lobos as well. And I'm planning to do a recital here as well in Anchorage during the summer. And second semester, it's always like trying to grow your program to make better and bigger, to make your students feel confident, proud of themselves playing their instruments. Like playing them, oh my gosh, I don't like what I'm doing. They have to like, they have to love it. That's the biggest meaning.
All right. Well, best of luck with all of that. And you do some summer festivals in the lower 48 states as well.
Yeah, I did. The last one I did was I was in Texas. I went to Louisiana, Shreveport. There's a wonderful Suzuki program there, and the Centennial School, and this happened every year. But since then, I couldn't go again because I'm working under a work visa. I just can make money out of one source, only Anchorage School District. So then. But I did some Suzuki camp in Brazil. There I could work as a full power.
All right. That's fun. Wow. Well, this is very inspiring, very motivating, and sure. Very interesting as well. So, thank you so much, Dr. Pessoa, for your time and your thoughts. And to all of you out there, happy practicing all weekend, all week long, and we'll meet back up this same time next week.
You had me at